What the hell is going on? My name is Tara Devil. Thanks for hanging out. This is what we do. We get together for unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, and humanity. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I ask that to Republicans all the time. I'm really not a closed mind. So give me some information, Republicans. Prove me wrong. I want to be wrong. I don't want to be living in a country that is undergoing a transformation from a democracy to a fascist autocracy. I don't want to, I have other things I want to do, right? Don't you? The founders entrusted us with a perfectly decent, struggling and striving to live up to our founding ideals, certainly. But they left it to us, and we're, with the instructions, making a more perfect union. They knew that it was a work in progress, and they also knew how tenuous it is to have a republic that survived. You have to consciously cultivate it. Like in life in general, you know, you don't just accidentally, let's say, climb Mount Everest, right? Like that's something that you set out to do purposefully. You train for it. You learn about it. You learn the mistakes of people who went before you. You say, well, we're not going to do that. We won't do that route. We won't do that tactic or whatever it might be. I've never climbed a mountain. You know what I'm saying, though. We have to have a goal. It has to be, we have to agree on it. What are we doing? Guys, I'm at the point, I've been saying it for years, you know it. I'm like, break this friggin' country up already before they drag us down. Before they destroy democracy for good. The fact is, Republicans cannot function in a democracy. I've said it for years. I'm sorry that they're proving me correct. Yet again, I mean, why do I say I said it for years? It's just because, it's not about me, really, saying I'm just trying to break this down in my mind, do my, process it. Why am I saying that? Well, because you know what it is? It's sort of, it does suck to be right. That's why. It sucks to be right, because I really want to be wrong about this. I wish that people who call for book burning weren't dangerously close to illegitimately seizing power despite receiving fewer votes. I really do wish that. I wish that we had a majority party, the Democratic Party, that wasn't afraid to exercise power to save this goddamn democracy from the domestic enemies that the founders warned us about. Come on. They put it right there in our instruction manual, right? They put it right there. They said all enemies, foreign and domestic. It's not like it's something unheard of. And for anybody who knows history understands that it's rare that a country is invaded and the government is toppled from without. It usually happens from within. So, all right. My name is Tara Devil. Thanks for hanging out. We have some great American patriots in the chat room at youtube.com/c4channel/Tarabuster. And that's another thing we're doing. We're taking back patriotism, the word patriotism. Sort of like, I guess I got my training in Queer Nation in the 90s when I was a youth, and that's what we did. We took back the word queer. We disarmed the homophobes of it, and we made it an empowering statement. So we're taking back patriotism because the fact is, we're the patriots. Hello. We're the ones trying to make a more perfect union. No matter what Republicans say, if we get our way, right, if we have power democratically, if we're voted into power after building coalitions, knocking on doors, you know, all the things that you do if you're an adult in a functioning democracy. But the anyway, we'll hold on. There we go again. I see Richard in the chat room. Richard W., thank you so much. Another great show, Tara. Already we're out of the gate, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the review so far. And thanks, Jim, for your super chat. Another super chat from Jim. I mean, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out and for your generosity and for your patronage. We haven't had a new patron in a while, even though we've lost a few. Whatever. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. It's just the, it's reality. It's the reality of the situation. So, if you can, become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin to keep the liberal media going and growing. And this is it. This is the real liberal media. I know. I get it. I mean, this living room needs a paint job, clearly. But I don't have the goddamn time. This is the thing about fighting fascism. And you know, working those 3 uniquely American, no benefit, no whatever jobs, right? Yeah, so I have goddamn time. Where don't you just want to relax a little bit sometimes? Don't want to think about fascism 24/7. Well, this is how they got in. They see. It's sort of like on September 11th. After, well, not on September. Okay, when Condi Rice went and gave her testimony when she was for the 9/11 Commission, and they whatever questioned her, and she asserted no one ever predicted, or we could never have predicted planes as weapons, which of course was a lie. You know, and she also, because they had already war gamed using planes as weapons. Anyway, that's besides the point. But it's sort of like now the Democrats are saying we never, I don't know, we had a failure of imagination in regard to who the Republicans are. Do you know what I mean? So so Condi Rice says back in the day, you know, we had a failure of imagination. That's how we let 9/11 happen. Is it that the Democrats have a failure of imagination? That the Republican Party is an actual fascist coup in progress? I don't know. It seems that way to me. Some of them seem completely out of touch, of course. And because everybody has their agendas. And Kristen Sinema, for example, she's, I guess, disregarded her Green Party roots, however astroturf they might have been, and fully embraced filleting the business lobby. Basically, she went to the Chamber of Commerce and gave a talk saying, hey, call my office. Let me know what you need. Like, to the business people. We have to have an open dialogue. Did you think she talked to workers? You know, Miss Thumbs Down. She's literally begging for bribes at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. They have her. They bought her. So we expect Kristen Sinema, of course. What do you expect in a rigged system that runs on legal bribes? You're not attracting the best people. As some people, see. Then there are others like Katie Porter, well, the Progressive Caucus, who don't take any corporate money, and they're probably more along the lines of people like us in a way, where, you know, we see the injustice, we're sick of it, we know what's wrong, and the only thing really standing in the way is greed. That's it. Bottom line, we're here to reclaim patriotism, and redefine it yet again from greed. You know, as according to Republicans, because that's really what they have boiled patriotism into. It's greed, and it's the cheerleaders of greed, and well, of course, racism. It always underlying all of this is racism. See, the fact that we are a nation of immigrants and that we are a multiracial democracy, not functioning, but hold on. Let me lower that a little bit. Bum bum bing bum boom bing bam boom. All right. Of course, I lost my train of thought. That fucking music. Before I continue, JL's a J. Thank you for your super chat. I was in Queer Nation. Silence equals death. Exactly. That's ACT UP too, right? I was in ACT UP too. We used to go. I think I was more Queer Nation. I did some ACT UP. Die-ins and things like that back in the day. For me, I was young. I was like a young Mark Middlestaedt, even though Mark Middlestaedt is young. So I was like Mark Middlestaedt in a way, and he's my spiritual son, I suppose. And if you haven't subscribed to Shaping Progress, Mark's channel and his venture trying to get other people involved in the process and making this world a better place. I mean, poor Mark, right? He had to be born here, just like I did. I was born in a country that was just about to teeter into oligarchy, thanks to Reagan. And so, yeah. But since I became self-aware, I suppose, or politically aware, I was self-aware. I'm like a computer. I'm like, what's that from the Terminator? What's the Terminator computer? It doesn't work if you don't have the correct words. Terminator, what is it? What's the one? Cyberdyne, right? Became self-aware. Terminator computer, what is it? That took over the world? Which one is that? Which is it cyber? Anyway, whatever. Somebody on the chat can tell me. Skynet. Thank you. You know, when I first saw the Terminator, the movie, I did see Terminator in the theaters, but I was tripping on acid. So that's all I remember is, but I was a kid. That's all you have to know. I'm not recommending it. I was, you know, I'm in recovery. Let's put it that way. But when I was young, who the hell knows? You know, you live for today, right? All right, whatever. What am I talking about? Let's get back to business. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, JL's a J. It says, has anybody heard Lauren Boebert from my state? Yes. Right. Richard W. How much greed and power is enough for conservatives? Well, it's a perfect storm. So you have the greed and power, the concentrated wealth and power at the top of the people who bought the politicians because of the legal bribes, rigging the system. And those people, they're fine. They don't give a shit about America, because no matter what happens to America, they're fine. They don't see countries. They see the unholy dollar, or whatever color that might be. They don't give a shit. All of it is nothing but a ruse. Yeah, I mean, it's funny thinking of these assholes that are right now on some 4chan cesspool, really staffed by Kremlin agents, and they're uncovering the latest bullshit conspiracy lie that Putin and all the autocrats are trying to poison this country with. They're gonna buy that shit, but they don't see the oldest conspiracy right before their friggin' dumbass eyes, and that's the conspiracy of the rich against the rest of us. That's what the founders rebelled against. The concentrated wealth and power. Hey, I'm not saying that the founders were Bernie Sanders or AOC in any sense of the word. Of course not. They were products of their time, but which included the liberal age of enlightenment, the writings of Rousseau and John Locke and Voltaire, the radical idea that we did not need intergenerational aristocracy. That's what the founders were going on. Their racism was completely, an aside. Really, they didn't even see. They saw themselves. Because when they wrote all men are created equal, they meant all men. They didn't even see the hypocrisy of their own statements. George Washington fighting for freedom, yet he's hounding an enslaved person that he had in bondage, that he was gifting to his heirs. I mean, gifting her and her children as if she was a piece of property, and she escaped from him. And he took out ads in the newspaper, and he was quite offended, in fact, that she would even leave, because didn't we treat you well? That's beside the point. And she later on wrote him saying, basically, and pointing out the hypocrisy of him fighting for freedom, yet not understanding that why she would rather live hand to mouth than be enslaved again. So anyway, and they don't see, I'm sure Washington did not see his hypocrisy. Now, the founders understood that there would be a reckoning in regard to slavery. And we're still reckoning with it. And it has to happen. We're trying to do it. We are. See, I told you, I know how to fix the country. We talk about it here all the time. Get money out of politics. Number one. That's one of it. And the other is a similar Truth and Reconciliation Commission like South Africa had on race, where we get to talk about the real history of the United States in all of its, growing pains. It's so ridiculous. These fragile little white whiners. Little baby, my little son, my high school aged son, who cried when he read Tony, what did he read? The Bluest Eye? Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. I mean, I read that book. I don't remember it. It was I think I read it in college. I don't remember. Oh, shit. I always do this on ROKFIN. I don't know what ROKFIN is doing. This show's on ROKFIN. I've tried to broadcast a few shows that didn't go through. I don't know what's going on. Whatever. All right. So it's like one more button I think I have to push, and I forgot, maybe? Who knows? All right. Yes. All right. Hold on a second. Let me see. There's a few things we want to talk about today. I wanted to talk about, let's talk about, I just want to talk about the fascism, I suppose. And I'm concerned. I'm not alone, thankfully, with the concern that if the Republicans get power in the midterms, if they get the House, we're done. There can be there's no room for error when it comes to what we have to do to save democracy. And it includes doing something about, to federally protect our right to vote. Let me lower this. And cinema and mansion and all those archaic, greed-centered ghosts of the Gilded Age, they're standing in the way, clearly, but something has to be done. I don't know what Joe Biden. See, this is the thing. They're saying Joe Biden's approval ratings are down, and they're going down. Every news story is the infrastructure is. I mean, we're trying to vaccinate a nation. Joe Biden was handed a steaming pile of flaming dog poop from the tax cheating, draft dodging con man with the fake university and the vitamin scam. So he was handed a shit show as usual, because that's what Republicans do. They get power by any means necessary, and then they proceed to whittle away at the foundations of democracy and steal for the 1%. It's a full court press from every side. But it seems like, doesn't it seem like Joe Biden, this is why I feel his approval rating, in spite of everything, is going down. Of course, we have Earth 2, where where the virus is a hoax, I guess. I guess that's what's happening on Earth 2. And freedom is being able to say the N-word. But it seems like Biden is not in control. That's the impression. I get the impression because, for example, Biden says we're going to pass the human infrastructure bill, and then he goes out 5 minutes later. Then Manchin follows up, saying, "I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what that fucking asshole's talking about. Me, I'm the president, right? I'm the king, so whatever I say goes." And that to me seems like a mixed message. And just like the mixed message of the Republicans are an existential threat to democracy, on the one hand, and on the other hand, you see, everyone, we can work together. Hello? That's crazy making. Are they an existential threat to democracy? You bet they are. They're an immediate threat. They're an absolute ubiquitous threat on every level. They're an anti-democratic death cult. They really are. A greed-centered anti-democratic death cult. But, well, this is kind of, there was a poll, right, saying that Americans prefer to send Republicans. Wait, where is it? Come on, mothers. Where is it? Here we go. New poll. More Americans want the Republicans to take control of Congress in 2022. When I read a headline like that, I say, get me the fuck out of here. Where's the aliens? Can they come back already? Enough is enough. What do you mean? Why? How? How does anybody want more of that? Why? Why and how? I don't even know. What am I saying? How, why, where, what? That's what I think. I'm like, where? Is this real life? This is real, right? We've just lived through that. Where an asshole, a con man, came down an escalator telling everybody that Mexicans were rapists, right out of the best fascist dictator playbook, of course. Well, every fascist dictator playbook. And instead of recoiling from that scumbag like you recoil from a hot flame, millions said, yeah. And then, when that asshole did nothing but funnel more money into the greed-centered ghosts of the Gilded Age rapacious mouth, that greed-scented black pit of need. I don't even know. What is it with them? Why? Why? How do you need? What's wrong with you? You need billions of dollars? Is that enough? Fuck that. This is so... Anyway, so, New poll shows more Americans want GOP to win control of Congress. But then, there are some caveats to this poll, because it's just the way it was conducted. This is why it's misleading too, because you do know that especially Republicans, most of them will only read the headlines anyway. Getting into the details is they don't do shit like that. No. They'll wait for some Russian operative to make a meme, and then they'll retweet it or something. More U.S. voters want to see the GOP take control of the House and Senate next year, according to a new Quinnipiac University poll, an ominous sign for Democrats as they prepare to defend their razor-thin majorities in both chambers. And, okay, great, wonderful reporting or whatever, but it just seems so matter-of-fact, doesn't it? I don't know. That's why it is kind of crazy-making, because we're up against a fascist coup, and we still have the veneer of normalcy surrounding it. And I'm sure this is just like it felt in Nazi Germany, as you think, I must be seeing things. Nah, it'll blow over. And, then they came for me. And 46% of registered voters say that they would rather see Republicans win the House majority in 2020. What? They want to see more videos of Republicans killing Democrats. They want to see, they want more death threats, more calls to ban and burn books, more bathroom bills, more, I don't know, pee-pee patrols, I guess. And compared to 41% who said that the Democrats should retain control of the chamber. All right, well, the thing is, with this poll, let me see, American, I'm looking at the bottom line. They only interviewed about, it was less than 2,000 people. That's the thing. Who are they calling? And they called landlines, ladies and gentlemen. So what kind of a poll is this? It's not a very accurate one, but it does give I'm of two minds in a way on this, because when I see things like this, I get twisted. My stomach is in a knot. But then I think, well, the Democrats, maybe they'll put some fire in their step, or pepper in their step or something, if they really think that everything's on the line. But you know what will happen when Democrats feel pressured. What do? They turn into Republicans. They don't do what's right. They don't do what we need to do. They don't get out in front of whatever corporate media will allow them on their platform and talk about democracy, right? What it means, what we need to have a democracy. Like, we cannot have this level of concentrated wealth. Why is this never discussed? Now I'm hearing, because the problem is so overwhelming, and it can't be denied. You do hear that on corporate media. You hear that the rich are too rich and they don't pay taxes, and it's about time that the working people get a break. Well, meanwhile, the last 40 years, as we've slid into this income, the record income disparity and upward immobility, where were you, corporate media? You were cheering along. You were like, go for it, go for it. You were running, I guess, what was that? When we attacked Iraq back in the day, remember? Shock and awe. You cheerleaded the shock and awe campaigns, right? Never a critical eye. It's pretty incredible, how we haven't completely went fascist sooner. It's kind of like a blink of an eye. And that's how it goes. It seems like a long time, but it's in the timeline of history, it's nothing. Just like we're the United States. We're less than 300 years old. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing, and we're already on the brink of collapse in less than 200 years. I mean, 300 years. How? How does this happen? Because what happens is what always happens. The rich get a hold, the greedy scumbags who don't have any higher ideal in mind other than gimme, I want more. Me. That's it. Like babies, like little infant babies out of control. It's really unacceptable. But we accept it because we're too busy working our 3 uniquely American low-paying jobs, trying to keep our heads above water to do anything about it. And then you don't want to pester your betters, and you don't want to get a record or get a bad rap or do something that might affect your, I don't know, everything. All right. Democrats were already expected to face historical headwinds heading into 2022, given that the party of a new president tends to lose ground in Congress in the midterm elections. But the poll adds to mounting evidence that roughly a year after voters handed Democrats control of Washington, Americans may be feeling a sense of buyer's remorse. I don't think so. Buyer's remorse? No, asshole. Here's another example why corporate media and mainstream media sucks and is part of the problem. What is this? Yet again, another explanation of a poll. That's all the media is now. Don't you notice? Everything is a poll. It's not informing anybody. It's not. There won't be a story about how 40 years ago the United States was the most upwardly mobile of all the Western democracies, and that we had the slightest income gap. There won't be a story on how that happened or how comparing that to the rest of the world. You won't see that. That takes work. Putting a poll up is very cheap for the corporate overlords. It doesn't cost them a goddamn thing, and then they can get some corporate media pundits. They'll get some. Well, they'll get the standard, the Republicans, the Democrats coming through to give their opinion on it. That's it. That's what they do. And meanwhile, then the American people are siloed in their corners of information, and like all fascists, the Republicans are telling them that they have the market on truth. Because really, the bottom line is truth has a liberal bias, and fascists don't give a shit about truth. They make it up. And just like back in the day, during George W. Bush, I remember there was an article, I think it was for the New York Times magazine. They were interviewing some Bush fuckers, and they were saying how you guys will be, we don't care about truth, you guys will be discussing our last outrage, and that we'll be on to the next one, we just make it up as we go. This is what they said. I don't know if he said we make it up as we go, but he said they have no interest in truth. They will tell you what the truth is. And so my argument here is that they've always been a fascist coup, an ongoing slow motion fascist coup. Of course they are. What's the difference? I mean, now it's just that it's so out in the open that it can't be denied, that even the corporate media has to recognize it and call it out. But they're not filling in, they're not helping. How do you help? Okay? You become a patron of terror. I mean, I'm just saying, this is the media, the liberal media. Here we're talking about taking patriotism. How come or reclaiming, not taking, you know. You could be a patriot too, right-winger. Just don't be a dick. Don't think that wearing a red, white, and blue fashion abortion makes you a patriot while you're doing all you can to ensure that the American democracy goes the way of the Whigs. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. But the fascism is right out there in the open, in full effect. And they don't realize it because they are fascists. That's the thing. In every Republican chest beats the heart of fascism, and they don't realize it. They don't think so. It's like calling for book burning. They think that's patriotism. Do they? It's incredible. They're outright in the open, screaming about burning books. All right, wait, hold on a second. But as far as Joe Biden in this poll, another poll, I mean, just give me a break here. Here's the methodology. The Quinnipiac, whatever, university poll surveyed, wait for it, 1,378 U.S. adults, including 1,262 registered voters. And they called a landline. Now, who answers their damn phone nowadays? I don't. Unless I know the person, right? Nobody does. You don't answer the phone. And people just don't. That's why when right-wingers, remember the right-wingers were harassing me? Something very strange was happening. I was getting those crazy, it was before the election. I was getting crazy voicemail messages. And that's how they did it. That's how they got me to pick up the phone, because they would ring and then hang up when I didn't answer it, and then they would ring again. That's kind of like the call sign of this is important, you know. So you pick it up, and then on the other end there was somebody calling me. What did they used to do? They were saying I was smelly or something like that. What was that? Let me see if I can find that. Messages. That's why if you become a patron, my producer could be searching for these messages. I'm sure I have them somewhere. I don't remember what I called them, though. Anyway, doesn't matter. I was just going to play them for maybe there's some new Tarabuster people here. And thank you, Errol Thomas, for your super chat. When will Republic clowns ever going to quit praising Kyle Rittenhouse? I know. Slime Rittenhouse as their savior. Well, that'll be the first of never. He's their hero. I mean, all right, there's so many things I want to talk about. One of them is, well, fascism. Republicans are in full effect. The fascist coup is in full effect. Let's talk about some of the book burners and, let's see, try to ban books. More Republican leaders try to ban books on race and LGBTQ issues. Of course, because, you see, it might make somebody feel bad. Well, how about it makes, if somebody reads a book, a kid might read a book about an experience of a gay teenager, and maybe they'll learn that life is like an interesting tapestry of diversity. And we're not all the same. So, and that's a good thing. Maybe. And maybe that little gay kid will not want to kill themselves or whatever it might be. And we might actually cultivate a community of youth who learn to be good neighbors and good citizens. Right? To each his own, live and let live. What does it matter? Equal protection under the law. We're all protected by the same Constitution, right? Oh, that is, unless you're 3/5 of a human being. Or, well, that's the Republican way. Because I have news for you guys. We're still 3/5. I'm not me, clearly. I have the pigment of Casper the Ghost. But, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. In the latest call from Republican leaders to ban certain books in schools, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster is telling his state's Department of Education to investigate a graphic novel on queer identity being available at a school's library. He calls the content in the book sexually explicit and pornographic because he's a sick, dirty, freaking closet case, probably. Because nobody gives a shit unless they're a closet case. It's sort of like, unless you're an alcoholic, nobody cares. I mean, that's why, because I don't drink, you guys know. So, because I'm in recovery. But I have found in my experience that I'll go to a party or something and they'll say, hey, you want to drink? I say, no, I don't drink. I'll just take a Coke or Sprite or something. And nobody gives a shit unless they are themselves struggling somehow with addiction. Then they'll be like, really? You don't drink? Nothing? Never? Never, ever? Not on Christmas, not on New Year's, not on your birthday? What? Come on, have a drink. Come on. That's usually, that's the red flag. That, they got a problem. It's their problem. It's not my problem. And it's the same here. What do you care? There's a book where another human being wrote about other human beings, their experience. Everything has to be written from the perspective of a straight fucking white cis male? Is that it? You're so fragile? I thought you were so great, Republicans, and you're the greatest, the best in the world. I don't know what that means, but you are the best. America's the best. You're the greatest. Everybody's the great. You're the greatest. Democrats are 3/5 of a human being, but you're the best. Oh, don't get me wrong. It's the truth. That's what Republicans think. It's not. They've turned this the oppositional party thing that we have, the faction that the founders warned us about creating, but they've turned it into it's a life or death struggle at this point. There's no working with Democrats on with their point, according to Republicans, because how could you work with them if you're working with lizard people who drink adrenochrome or something, right? And they're evil. This is what Republicans say. And in fact, there was something. Where was this? Media Matters. I think I saw something on Media Matters, but one of these Republicans saying just that anybody who votes for one of these right-wing freak pastors saying if you vote for a Democrat, you're going to hell. Fuck you. How's that? Guess what, asshole? We don't have to go to hell. We're already there. And you know what hell is? Sharing the same air with conservatives, so-called conservatives, because I wish you were conservatives. I wish you would conserve something, protect something, and everything. You're just not. You're not cut out for democracy, and that's the bottom line. Because it's not your fault, I suppose. Maybe you've come from a broken home. Maybe a bunch of morons. It could be a long line of morons. Long line of wasted human DNA. We've always had to struggle up against, our founding ideals and the reality of what we're creating here. We don't have the courage to live up to the founding ideals because of right-wingers. They're standing in the way, as usual. Now, they are a minority party. They're a minority party. They receive fewer votes. They represent fewer people, and they push a minority ideology because nobody, most people, I mean, putting aside the 35% of authoritarian followers, and that's who we're dealing with. You know, the Republicans are they really are the domestic enemies that the founders warned us about. Am I wrong? Or am I just being hyperbolic? No. If anybody can prove me wrong, I'm open to it, man. That's for sure. I would love to see the information. Like somebody say, hey, Tara, you missed this whole thing. See, Republicans aren't in a slow motion fascist coup that's not that slow. They're doing this. They're doing that. I would love to hear that. I'd love to adjust my my level of stress. That's for sure. Hold on. Oh shit. No. I love listening to the thoughts of the minutiae. All right, I'm gonna play this one. These fuckers at the school board. There's a couple of things. The other thing I wanted to play, which this is why we need a daily show. God damn it. So much stuff goes on every single day. But just for fun, I wanted to play this woman who shut down one of these right-winger, anti-mask, anti-gay assholes that came to Target. So we'll play the woman who really shut the guy down. But before that, let's get to the book burning assholes. Okay, here's this couple of assholes. Oh wait, let's just start with this news story about the assholes who want to burn books.
Answer from anybody who chooses these books.
The school library book purge started with a complaint from parents Christina and Robert Burris.
It's sickening, it's sickening, it's sickening, and I've got nothing else to say. Is there anything you don't know?
The Burris.
I have to say, you guys, come on, let's get real here. That guy is a closet case, in my opinion, legally and peacefully. There's no doubt in my mind. Honey, all you gotta do is you don't worry about what other people read. Guess what? If a gay kid never read a gay book, guess what? They'd still be gay. You're not going to dissuade them. It doesn't work like that. They have been legislating against gays since the goddamn Rome turned to Christianity. I mean, honestly, that's the problem. This fucking, these so-called Christians. I wish they were, really. I really wish they were. They're not Christian, they're just hateful. Self-loathing and hateful, and they use a targeted minority group to rally their assholes around. I mean, really, that's what it's about. Is that Christianity? They've reduced it to basically just being a gay basher. That's your holy obligation. Hate gays and what? Love fascism, I guess? Well, it all goes hand in hand. But that guy, there is no doubt in my mind, because he's the one that later on says, oh, I want to put him on the fire and burn the books. Honey, just get help. Get the help you are screaming for. If Republicans would just get the help they need, rather than inflict it on normal society, the world would be a much better place. Okay, let's go.
Got nothing else to say. Is there anything you don't know?
The Burrises and the school board were particularly offended by Call Me By Your Name, a book about a relationship between a 17-year-old and his parents' adult house guest that was made into an award-winning movie, and by 33 Snowfish, a library association best book for young adults about 3 runaways who understand hatred and violence better than love.
Well, can't have any of that.
The critics found more in the Riverbend High School digital library app.
Yeah.
Results for gay,
Here we go. She's such an asshole.
172. Results for heterosexual, 2. One of the 2 books.
Oh my goodness. You mean there's no heterosexuals? There's only 2 heterosexual books in the whole fucking library app? Maybe they don't need to write. Who writes heterosexual? You don't need to have to search heterosexual because everything is heterosexual, you asshole. You dumb bitch. This is the same argument of why don't we have Straight Pride Day or the Straight Pride Parade? Because every fucking day is Straight Pride Day, you dumb. Heterosexual too. Can you believe it? That's the inference, right? Can you believe it? Only 2 references to heterosexual. How dare they? Now my son will be gay. And I will be forced to disown him because I'm a good Christian. Following my Christian teaching of go die, son. Because you don't like, you want to build, I don't know, a life with somebody with the same pee-pee. That's too much. That's too much freedom. That's too much freedom. You need to be in a loveless, sexless, dead-end marriage that makes you want to kill yourself. And when it's sort of like there was a study. Well, I read a book. I read a book once. I think it was called. Let me look this up. It was called something like "Society and the Healthy Homosexual." Am I correct on this? Let me see. Society. I swear to God, the healthy. Yeah, look at that. That's the name of it. Society and the Healthy Homosexual. I read this book while I was in school. And, well, it's all about how it's not the gay person who's sick, it's the society. And it was the first book of its type that posited from that point of view. Yes, originally published in 1972. The author of the book coined the term homophobia, which calling it a sickness, as opposed to homosexuality, which is healthy. In this book, he examines the causes of homophobia and shows how gay people can overcome their subtle influences. And it's everywhere. It's just like racism. And these idiots don't even see it. And I'm tired of fighting the same battles with these morons. I feel like I've been transported back in time. Because as far as we've come, we still have these right-wingers, and they're eager to drag us back down with them. And look at them. All I keep thinking about is them, their life. Who the fuck are you? You two? These 2 want to tell everybody what they can read. Okay? Them. Well, they're white and they're hetero, supposed. God. This goes much deeper. We know that there's something going on in this marriage. That more will be revealed. We'll see.
Actually, Speak No Evil, Heal No Evil, which is about a Nigerian gay boy. Results for
So what? All right, let me let her talk. I'm sorry.
sexual, 2. One of the 2 books is actually Speak No Evil, Heal No Evil, which is about a Nigerian gay boy. Results for pedophilia, 16. Lesbian, 84.
Wow.
Jesus, 19, but half of them are about Muslims.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The board voted 6-0 to pull all objectionable books now, although it did not define objectionable. Two members want the banned books burned.
I think they should be thrown in a fire.
People see them. Go ahead.
I mean, it was just sad.
Some staffers and parents are pushing back. I've seen a lot of stupid in Spotsylvania schools, wrote Kelly Lucia, but this takes the cake. They're literally talking about burning books. Terrifying, wrote Kathy Hirsch.
I just think it's stupid. We're in high school.
You can make your own decisions
Yeah.
about what's
What we can,
decent
what we
and
read,
what's indecent.
Yeah.
The superintendent says staffers will immediately start removing books from the library shelves and report back how many they found at an emergency school board meeting next week.
Oh, God.
In Spotsylvania County,
Emergency.
Bruce LeShan, WUSA 9.
Holy shit. It's an emergency. Somebody, a high school student might read the word gay, and they might understand that this is a complex world. And if they are gay, they're not alone. You know? I mean, you would think that one of the primary goals of education would be to not turn people into douchebags. Racist, homophobic, bigoted, stupid, willfully ignorant douchebags. Because today, frankly, there's no excuse for this kind of ignorance. We have a very small world. We're all connected. You, just like that woman went on the app and she could search lesbian. I'm sure she loved that. So you can search all kinds of things. You can learn about the classics. You can learn about history. You can learn about politics. You can read. You can watch the news from other countries. It's amazing what you can learn, and when you open your eyes, when you get out of your own way. Damn it! But these people, I don't know who do they think they're helping. That's what it is. She thinks she's helping. But honey, you're not helping. It's the same feeling now. If you let's say there's a gay student sitting in that meeting, listening to you go on about how awful it is. If anybody read about a gay boy, oh, this one, it only said heterosexual once. Well, it had said twice, and one book was about a gay boy. Because every book should start at the top of the page. Every book should start with heterosexuality is the primary pinnacle of human existence, right? Anything else, we will not be discussing. That sounds like you're really setting up this country for success, Republicans, don't you think? If, God help us, if Republicans get power ever again, God help us. No, you know what? Because he won't. I think it'll be, oh well, I tried. You know what I'm saying? Where are these ladies? I mean, not ladies. Let me see. Here's the asshole parents again.
Have something like this that could really traumatize a kid if they just check out a book because it looks cool and then they open it up and start reading it. And to some of the things that they'll come across is just shocking.
He's saying if they open the book and it's cool, look at the cover. I'm into shiny objects because I'm an American teenager I have the body of a 25-year-old and the mind of a moron, of a moronic zygote. But he's saying that a teenager is going to pick up a book, cool cover, and say, oh, it said gay. There's a gay in here. What am I going to do? Now I'm gay. Look at these two. Ugh. Could you imagine them? Ugh. Gross. It's so unnatural. Ugh. Really, them two. Talk about an insult to Mother Nature. looking for you guys. Wait a minute. Oh, thank you, JD, for your super chat. In pounds, you lucky bastard. Hello, Tara in chat. Right? Eve, God forbid. Do not read them. Oh my, no. You never want to open your mind or your point of view. Why would you open your point of view and maybe see the world through somebody else's eyes? Why would you do that when you're the best and the greatest, right? Jesus Christ. Oh, here's this closet case. Here we go.
I guess we live in a world now that our public schools would rather have kids read about gay pornography than Christ.
Yeah, that's it. Gay pornography, then, yeah, that's it. That's gay pornography is all over. It's all over high schools, don't you think? It's being taught in every classroom, like critical race theory. Everybody is, it's all about porn. That's because Republicans are sick. And this is just exhibit ad infinitum. They're sick. They're twisted. They really have issues. And they don't get help because they lack courage. It takes courage to say, I need help. Can you help me? Or it even takes a level of courage to recognize that you need help, right? And then even harder to ask for help for these fucking idiots. Even though we're an interdependent species and these pricks, even that goddamn chair he's sitting in came because somebody else. You know, he didn't build it. He didn't make that chair. He didn't come up with the microphone that's going to amplify his stupid views to an audience of ignoramuses. Jesus, I want them all burned. But this kid here, I'd bet my goddamn life that he's a closet case. There's no doubt. That's the telltale sign. Because who cares? Otherwise, nobody cares unless you got an issue with it. So he's so hyper focused on any mention of gay because he's tempted. He's trying to control it. He's been told his whole life that it's dirty and bad and he's bad and he's joined right in. He's jumped on the bandwagon. And because he wants to be loved, right? Instead of being a rugged individual, he wants to be one of the morons that he hangs out with. And he knows that if he lived an authentic life, they would fucking turn their backs on him. And he's a coward. So there you go. It's the perfect storm. Republicans lack the fundamental maturity to function in a democratic society because it takes all of the aspects of a personality that they don't possess. We don't need you. We don't need racism in this multiracial democracy or fledgling aspirational democracy. We don't need you. We don't need assholes calling for book burning or trying to stop people from voting. We don't need you. And Republicans, you want to, God help us if they truly get hold of the school system. And I mean, they have too much say as it is, frankly, because we all have to teach kids a common story. That's how democracy will live and survive. But we won't ever, because Republicans will stand in the way of that. That's communism. You see, we're teaching people the same thing. We have to teach some people that the sky is blue and others that it's green because we're in the eye of a lizard. But both sides. Equal weight. Oh my God. Yeah. Where's the other one? I'm looking for. There was another one of this guy calling for book burning. It doesn't matter. I want to burn them all. Are we really there? And that's what they want more of. So we get a headline from the Hill how more Americans want the fascists back in power. And what does that do for? I mean, in general, people will read the headline and then it gives this false impression that the Republicans are so popular and that people really like what they're doing. When the next low information voter goes to vote, which is pretty much the majority, they'll be like, I don't know. I like this Republican. I wasn't sure about the Democrat because they are they're all about gays and people with darker pigment, although they won't say it that way. But the Republicans, on the other hand, a lot of they're. I'm just going to go with the flow here because I read an article, even though they mean only the headline, where it said that most Americans wanted Republicans in charge. So, being a low information voter, I'm going to go with that. That kind of validates the Republican agenda, as if they're not a fascist coup in process. Give me a friggin' break. And then when you dive into the article and you see, holy shit, they spoke to less than 1,400 people on a landline, randomly calling a landline. Who has a landline? And does anybody under the age of 30 have a landline anymore? I don't have a landline. I'm not under the age of 30. Jesus Christ. But there you go. You see how that happens? That's why it is important what we're doing here. However many people we reach, we're building our community, we get together to get the power, to get the information, I mean, the re-energized, that kind of power, to go back out on the friggin' front lines. Because we have a lot of work to do. On the corporate media, I cannot believe half of the time how casually they're taking this. How casually this fascist coup is unfolding. The craziness, the whiplash from one story about how the Republicans are attacking their democracy, they're an anti-democratic death cult, and then the next story is about how will Joe Biden ever get Republicans to vote for his policy. I mean, it's just, it's so out of touch and such bullshit to what we're dealing with. It's not helping. And that's why when Joe Biden signed the infrastructure bill, with all the Republicans there, right? Well, the Republicans who voted, some Republicans who voted for it, because they're cowards, you see? They want power, money and power. They think that Trump can help them in that category. So, things like infrastructure, even though Mitch McConnell voted for it, he wouldn't show up for the photo op. That's not how things roll anymore. But still, we'll hear the corporate media go on about what's Joe Biden gonna do. He promised he'd unify us. Well, I promised I'd, jump over the moon. What are you gonna do? Jesus help us all. Well, Republicans, they're so fascist, as we know, that they don't even realize it. Here, I'm sure you saw this.
And they're talking about the United States of America. talking about the United States of America, because when Matthew mentioned it in the Bible, he wasn't talking about the physical ground that he was on. He was talking about something in the distance. So if we are going to have one nation under God, which we must, we have to have one religion, one nation under God and one religion under God, right? All of us together, working together. I know, and they're
Wow. Unreal. That was Michael Flynn, for those of us listening on the podcast. Unfucking real. Now, I don't know, JD from the UK, do you have politicians in England saying we need to have one religion? Sort of like, does this fucking guy know anything? No. Of course he doesn't. He's an ignoramus. When Barack Obama handed power to that asshole, the tax cheating asshole, the orange con man, you know, that guy, he gave him a couple of bits of advice. One was about North Korea, and the other one was advised him to not make Michael Flynn anything. Don't give him power. Hold on. I'll wipe my glasses off. And, of course, Trump did the exact opposite and then had to get rid of Flynn 2 weeks later. But Flynn is a traitor. He's a traitor because he can't help it. He's a fascist. He's an authoritarian follower. I don't give a shit he wore the uniform. He's a friggin' general. Who cares? Domestic enemies. Lots of assholes wore the uniform. This is the other thing I wanted to say on Veterans Day, but it kind of slipped my mind too. The whole thank you for your service shit is it's a problem to me. It's really annoying. As somebody, I can say these things because I did wear the uniform, and so fuck off, right-wingers. They're probably like, you hate America, and then they're, oh, shit. And, yeah. I don't care if you wore the uniform, but here's the thing. So, the thing that I was going to say, yes. This whole thank you for your service for people who are fighting the wars of corporate aggression. It's complete and utter bullshit. It's a reflection on, it really is a reflection of how lost we are as a democracy, a constitutionally limited democratic Republicans who are like, we're not a democracy. You know what I mean? What if we said thank you for your service to teachers? In my opinion, that's a service job that we can't do without. That's somebody who really makes a difference. I mean, it's valuable, of course, but not everybody who wears a uniform and carries a gun. That's the one we have to thank for their service? Come on. What about there's firemen and women, there's teachers. Let's thank them for their service. No, the right-wingers are busy vilifying teachers, of course. Right? They're coming after, well, that's what fascists do. Here's J.D. Vance.
And there was a wisdom in what Richard Nixon said approximately 40, 50 years ago. He said, and I quote, "The professors are the enemy."
Everybody's the enemy who is absolutely necessary for democracy. Did you notice that? Everybody's the enemy. The press are the enemy. Education is the enemy. Anybody trying to actually educate the people of this country, they're the enemy. You notice? And he's got as far as this guy's concerned, and then Flynn, talking about we need one religion. I'm sure I would love, as far as Flynn is concerned, I would love to have been a fly on the wall in that room to see the reaction. I didn't hear people applaud. That's why I think he started in with, yeah, we have to be together. He was trying to follow it up with something that might generate some applause. Yeah, we need one religion. Just like the founders wrote, right? Except the exact opposite. We have to, what did he say? Something about the, oh yes, professors
are the enemy. The professors are the enemy.
You know what? You're the enemy. Anybody who says that the pillars of democracy are the enemy is the enemy. I'm sorry. I wish it was different. I really do. I would love to get some sleep now and then. Uh-oh, here comes trouble. Here comes trouble. Get up here. Are you coming up? Get up. Get up. Come on. Do I have to pick you up? All right, fine. Look who it is. Say hello. Right into the microphone. Good boy. All right, sit down. You have to sit. Sit. You're such a baby. You're a baby. How about that? All right. Ba-da-dum-ba-da, Tara Jr. All right, you just have to sit there, though. Can you just sit and be quiet? No. Stop. All right. Calm down, relax. This is gonna happen now. He's gonna sit here and scream at me. Let me see. Yeah. From Best Levin, I'll just read a couple of paragraphs of this Vanity Fair article. Conservatives are just openly endorsing book burning now. Over the last several years, there have been many opportunities to throw around terms like fascist and fascism, typically in the context of the Republican Party and the wannabe dictator, to whom many of its members have pledged their undying loyalty. In response, said Republicans have frequently gotten bent out of shape about such terms, insisting they're totally uncalled for, not applicable, and say more about the hysterical people using them than they do about their targets, and yet this sounds pretty damn fascist. Per Insider, from the Business Insider, amid the GOP's nationwide push against teaching about race and sexuality in school, 2 members of the Spotsylvania County School Board in Virginia advocated for book burning. According to the Fredericksburg-based Freelance Star newspaper, this came as the school board directed staff to begin removing, quote-unquote, sexually explicit books from library shelves. After voting 6-0 in favor of the removal, the Lance Star reported, the board has plans to review how certain books are objectionable, quote-unquote. Portland representative and those 2 assholes you just saw said, I think we should throw those books in a fire. They can't help it. They cannot help it. This cat is getting out of control. I know what's wrong with you, Junior. But there's nothing I can do about it. The problem is Ray. Ever since Ray came to live with us, Tara Jr. is very, he seems like he's mad at me a little bit. And I think he feels kind of jealous in a way. And then when I pet him, he doesn't want me to stop. That's what it's about. So he gets mad if I stop petting. So, all right. Anyway, I'll talk. I'll have to get a. Maybe I'll need a pet psychic to get in here. Anybody? Any pet psychics on the chat? What do you think? What are you thinking, Junior? Besides food, what else are you thinking? Oh no. Oh Jesus Christ! Where's Haiku? Is this a troll in the chat? Let's go, Brand. Let's go, Brand. Again, then thank you for posting, because it's another illustration, but we didn't really need one to show or prove that Republicans really lack the fundamental maturity to function in a democracy. I know how this whole "let's go, Brandon," we talked about it on the show. It's just so infantile, like everything else they're about, because they're babies. They lack the maturity to function in a democracy. It takes maturity, and how do we get that? That's why we need we need a common story in public education to teach the history of the United States, the accurate actual history and civics of America, how tenuous democracies are, and how they are always hanging by a thread and can be lost easily. And but that takes maturity. It takes an understanding that we are a multiracial democracy. I know that Republicans hate that, because that's also a reflection of their lack of maturity and inability to function in democracy. It takes, your stupidity and racism go hand in hand, and there's reams of studies about that. How low IQ, let me see, here we go. Low IQ and racism. I used to have a file of articles, scholarly articles about conservatism, how it's a mental disorder, really. Let me see, low IQ. The cat's sitting on this keyboard, that's why it's hard to see. Low IQ, political conservatism. There we go. And racism, that's it. It all goes hand in hand, and they've done studies on it. Yep, here it is, Live Science from that socialist rag. Low IQ and conservatives' beliefs, and excuse me, let me read this again. Low IQ and conservative beliefs linked to prejudice. There's no gentle way to put it. People who give in to racism and prejudice may be dumb. Simply dumb. According to a new study that is bound to stir public controversy. And this was a study from 2012. Research finds that children with low intelligence are more likely to hold prejudiced attitudes as adults. Makes sense. You got to be a dumbass to be a racist, and to distill everybody down to caricatures of them, of everything that you fear. That's what conservatives do. These findings point to a vicious cycle. According to lead researcher Gordon Hodson, a psychologist at Brock University in Ontario, low intelligence adults tend to gravitate towards socially conservative ideologies, the study found. Those ideologies, in turn, stress hierarchy and resistance to change, attitudes that can contribute to prejudice. Hodson wrote, prejudice is extremely complex and multifaceted, making it critical that any factors contributing to bias are uncovered and understood, he said. Makes sense, right? You'd want to do that if if racism itself was standing in the way of having a more perfect union. So you would want to get to the bottom of it, right? and do something about it. And so instead of, when people say Black Lives Matter, instead of saying, yeah, all lives matter, I wish all lives matter, because if all lives mattered, we wouldn't have to say Black Lives Matter. But, okay. Polling data and social and political science research do show that prejudice is more common in those who hold right-wing ideals than those of other political persuasions. The unique contribution here is trying to make some progress on the most challenging aspects of this. Referring to the new study, it's not that a relationship like that exists, but why it exists. Okay. Earlier studies have found links between low levels of education and higher levels of prejudice. So studying intelligence seemed a next logical step. The researchers turned to two studies in the United Kingdom. One that followed babies since their birth, not like a random poll from somebody who calls landlines. They're talking about years and years of extensive research. Followed babies since their births, and others that did the same for babies born in April 1970. The children in the studies had their intelligence assessed at age 10, and at age 10 or 11, and as adults 20 years later, at age 30 or 33. Their levels of social conservatism and racism were measured. In the first study, verbal and nonverbal intelligence was measured using tests that asked people to find similarities between the differences between words, shapes, and symbols. The second study measured cognitive abilities in 4 ways, including number recall, shape drawing. Should be a thing though, shame drawing. Defining words and identifying patterns and similarities among words. Average IQ is set at 100, which is not that high, guys. Social conservatives were defined as people who agreed with a laundry list of statements like family life suffers if mom is working full-time, and schools should teach children to obey authority, except if they're Democrats, right? Attitudes toward other races were captured by measuring agreement with statements such as, I wouldn't mind working with people from other races. These questions measured overt prejudiced attitudes, but most people, no matter how egalitarian, do hold unconscious racial biases. Hodson's work can't speak to this underground racism, though. As suspected, everybody has that, by the way. We all do. We have internalized homophobia, internalized racism, internalized bigotries of all sorts. It's not this. You can't help it, living in this world. Sort of like, I mean, we have evolved a bit. I mean, I don't know if somebody could write all men are created equal while holding, well, I guess they could. Today, a right-winger would be able to do that. They don't have any shame. So, and no boundaries, no, they don't care. They don't, the only thing they care about is money, period. I urge you guys to watch that Hulu show, Dope Sick. And it's based on the opioid crisis in the United States. And it's interesting, one of the things in the show, which I didn't know, is that Giuliani was hired by Purdue Pharma to pull strings in government and to get the heat off them. Did you see what a scumbag he is? I don't give a shit that Americans were being addicted deliberately by this scumbag company and the Sackler family. He was there trying to get people to do nothing about it. That's who Giuliani is. He doesn't give a shit. He never did. I mean, Giuliani is them. Just relax, Junior. You're a good boy. I know. Where am I? Where am I? Where is... But yet, right, when you think of Giuliani, they love him, right? Right wingers still look to him. They think they look up to him. Is that true? Is that real? They look at that bat-looking freak, that greedy. Hey, you want to talk about a ghost from the Gilded Age? My God, it's like Nosferatu from the bowels of hell. Jesus Christ, just a bunch of scums. Filthy, disgusting, ugly on the inside, soulless, horrible people. Prove me wrong. Let me see. Social conservatives. Oh yes, here we are. I read that. I wouldn't mind working with people from other races. These questions measured overt prejudices as suspected. Low intelligence in childhood corresponded with racism in adulthood. Hello. That should be on a Times Square ticker. But the factor that explained the relationship between these two variables was political. When researchers included social conservatism in the analysis, those ideologies accounted for much of the link between brains and biases. People with lower cognitive abilities also had less contact with people of other races. This finding is consistent with recent research demonstrating that intergroup contact is mentally challenging and cognitively draining, with consistent findings and contact. Consistent with findings that contact reduces prejudice. Okay. Hodson was quick to note that despite the link found between low intelligence and social conservatism, researchers aren't implying that liberals are brilliant and conservatives are stupid. The research is a study of averages. So, on average, conservatives are stupid. I guess. I don't know. I'm reading here. I'm reading the study. There are multiple examples of very bright conservatives and not so bright liberals. Of course. Those are outliers, I guess. And many examples of principled conservatives and very intolerant liberals. Okay, give me one. Oh, well, conservatives will say, because I know this because they say it to me, so tolerant. There's that liberal tolerance. I don't tolerate fascism. I'm sorry. It's my patriotic duty not to tolerate the fascist disgustingness that you're inflicting on this country. So, no, we don't. It's not our duty to tolerate your disgusting behavior, your anti-democratic behavior. It's our duty. It's our duty to do something about it legally and peacefully. So let's see. Oh, here we go. There are multiple examples of bright conservatives and not so bright liberals, right? So the researcher said, we can say definitively, for example, men are taller than women on average, but you can't say if you take a random man and a random woman that the man is going to be taller, right? But there's plenty of overlap. Nonetheless, there's a reason to believe that strict right-wing ideology might appeal to those who have trouble grasping the complexity of the world. You think? Socially conservative ideologies tend to offer structure and order. At least that's what they say they offer. Unfortunately, many of these features can also contribute to prejudice. In another study, and well, that's what Republicans do. They cultivate the prejudice. They put Miracle Grow on a garden of prejudice. Please, they need prejudice. They need it. That's why they don't want a conversation. They want to say, "Oh, my son came home today and he said, 'Mommy, I'm an oppressor. Help me. Help me, Mama. I'm trying not to oppress.'" It's so goddamn ridiculous. It really is. They're fucking ridiculous. But guess what? Here's the good news. We will win. We always do. It just depends on how what the fascist period in the interim is going to look like. I hope it doesn't materialize. But everything that they're talking, we know we will win. Because they have to pretend that they're fighting for truth, justice, and the American way. They have to hide their autocratic coup in the veneer of patriotism and doing it for the people, and so that's why we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of democracy because we're not pretending. We're actually trying to cultivate a functioning democracy that works for all. And that's the thing with these right-wingers. They're another example where the corporate media sucks. They let them get away with their, drinking liberal tears shit and talking about patriotism, calling themselves patriots, like on serious. I don't have a Sirius subscription, but I saw that Sirius has that their right-wing channel is called the Patriot Channel. Get the fuck out of here. That's why I was like, what do you mean? Everything right-wing is patriot, because they're not patriots. It's the classic closet case tactic of trying to throw everybody off the case. No, you're not patriots. No, we're see, it's don't pay no attention to what a functioning democracy looks like, right? We're patriots. We're the kind of patriots who say things like this.
Well, not that. Like this.
And they're talking about the United States of America. Talking about the United States of America, because when Matthew mentioned it in the Bible, he wasn't talking about the physical ground that he was on. He was talking about something in the distance. So if we are going to have one nation under God, which we must, we have to have one religion, one nation under God and one religion under God, right? All of us together,
right.
Working together.
Working together, everybody. Working together. Right? But we need one religion, even though the Constitution that asshole took an oath to protect, even though we know he's full of shit. He take an oath, whatever. Oath from oath. Where's my money? I want to get paid. He's the guy that was working for the autocrats, trying to kidnap people. Extrajudicially kidnap. That sounds pretty democratic, don't it? I mean, that's the thing about democracy that Republicans hate, is that it takes time. It takes work. They're the laziest pricks on the planet. These people do everything in their power to not work. They want money, so they can not work. And they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. They don't give a shit about they don't care about America. They'll tell you America is what is the pinnacle of democracy is one religion, right? Even though it says there shall be no religious test. The United States, in no way a Christian nation, right? Isn't that what Thomas Jefferson wrote? Or is that in the Treaty of Tripoli or something? The United States, in no way Christian nation. Should have paid attention in typing. Yeah, that's it. Oh no, it was John Adams wrote it. Oh yes, people are so annoying. Well, I'm just looking at something random. The Treaty of Tripoli, that's what it's from. As the government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion, as it has in itself no character or of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of Muslims. And as the states never entered into any war or act of hostility against the Mohammedan nation, it is declared by the parties that no pretext arising from religious opinions shall ever produce an interruption of the harmony existing between two countries. Well, tell that to this asshole.
And they're talking about one religion, one nation under God and one religion under God, right? All of us together, working together.
All of us together, working together to put other people in camps until they accept Jesus Christ as their personal Lord and Savior. Well, it says right in the Bible, either they accept or die. That's what's in store for Israel. Oh, you didn't know? That's what the evangelicals had in store for Israel? I know you know. Republicans don't know because they're dumb. Wait, all right, here we go. There's so many things to talk about. But we're talking about Republicans, fascism. They're fake ass. They're spreading lies like truth. Truth has such a liberal bias. I'm looking for this one article. Let me see. Beep, bop, ba-da, bop. Where is it? Michael Flynn calls for one religion, sparking outrage from Jewish groups. Just the Jewish groups? What? It should be outrage from every patriotic American. It should be millions of Americans. The majority. Sans 35%. The ADL CEO, Jonathan Greenblatt, and the American Jewish Congress both took to Twitter to call Flynn's statement anti-American, to suggest that the United States, a nation founded on twin bedrocks of pluralism and the freedom to practice any religion, should have one religion, is anti-American, anti-democratic, and downright dangerous. Sounds like the Republican platform, right? There's an article from The Independent. Patrick Cockburn wrote, the Republican Party, has turned fascist, and it is now the most dangerous threat in the world. From The Independent, an article from June. Right? Where is it? I'm sorry. I'm looking for something. That's so funny. You guys, thank you for all of your support. Where is this fucking article? Hold on a second. I have to go into my email. Let me play a video while I'm doing that, so people don't run for the hills. Let me work. That's why I need a damn freaking producer or something. Oh, here. Let's play this. Here's Hannah Nicole Jones, the 1619 project. 1819, please. Talking about, well, let's listen.
Can we just acknowledge that it is insane that a state legislature would say that you can't even teach the concept of structural racism? Not that you're even saying we have it, but that you can't even teach the concept of it. We all as Americans should be outraged and very worried, whether you like the 1619 Project or critical race theory at all. But we need to understand what they're saying then. It is inarguable that our country was founded with racism in the law, with racism in the courts, with racism in every structure of our society. One only has to look at the Constitution, which labels enslaved people 3/5 of a person. We only have to look at the slave codes and the black codes, and the fact that I have 2 books that are biblical length that are just a listing of all of the ways that black people were discriminated against in the law. This is inarguable. We had legal segregation in this country until a decade before I was born. And that said you could segregate against black people in housing, in schools, in the courts. You could discriminate against black people when it came to employment, whether they could go to the public library or a public swimming pool. All of these areas of life, legally you could discriminate against black people from 1619 all the way up until 1968. So it's ludicrous to say that you have to teach a understanding of this country that says it's only individual actors, there's nothing systemic here. And that clearly, Chris, is a response not just to the framing of the 1619 Project, which of course argues that racism is embedded in the structures of a society that was founded with 1/5 of the population enslaved. But what it's also saying is it is a response to the racial protests of last year, where people were saying it's not just about individual bad cops. It's not just about policing, that we have a society that is built to be fundamentally unfair, and we are dealing with the ramifications of that. So this is seeking to turn us away from thinking like that, and instead to say this is just about individual white people who may have prejudice, and it's about making white people as a race feel guilty and bad, and it's neither of those things.
Really? And if you feel guilty and bad, maybe it won't happen again. So we shouldn't teach about what happened in the Holocaust because Germans might feel guilty and bad? Good. They need to. We all should. We need to wake up and be hyper vigilant against fascism. So if some scumbag comes down an escalator calling Mexican rapists, you know what I'm saying? That's it. It's done. He's done. He's out. The 35% might appreciate that, but everybody else, Americans, normal people, takes a pass, a hard pass, pretty damn quick. Well, Republicans are dumb, and the autocrats of the world are salivating like a rabid dog on a chicken bone when it comes to destroying this country from within. And I've been telling you that we know that people, what's his face? Yeah, what's his name? Putin, and all of the autocrats and the Chinese, of course, they are flooding our social media sites with fake news and anything to push the right-wing agenda. You ever notice that? Well, I wonder if Republicans get a clue from that. That they think it's lies. That's what it is. They think that when that guy told that lady that she's a dupe, that Trump Facebook group is something that was generated from and run from the friggin' Kremlin. And the lady said that she's you're fake news. Remember that? Well, and I've been telling you, this is what they do. They're not sitting around watching, even though that's fun too. They are watching, but they're actively participating in the downfall. They're adding to the confusion. They see we're laying on the ground. They're coming in for the kill shot. Forget about it. It cannot be denied. Right-wing operatives, well, this is not just foreign. It's not just foreign. You want to know who's, what do you mean? You're talking about fake news. Republicans, they're ground zero for fake news. Right-wing operatives are deploying massive networks of local fake news stories or sites to weaponize critical race theory. So they're making these fake news sites. And this is not new, guys. This is just another day in the dying empire. So last Tuesday night, Glenn Youngkin was elected the next governor of Virginia. This article is, a couple of weeks old. At 9:15, Garrett Lansing, president of WinRed, the main online fundraising vehicle for Republican candidates, sent this tweet. I'll show you. Let's see. Let me beep 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 up up. The wrong one. Come on. Fucking eCam. Let me see. That's it. Okay. So here it is. Sent this tweet. This story started at all hail, whatever. So he tweets this, westnovanews.com. So what is West Nova News? And what does it have to do with Ian Pryor, the former spokesperson for Attorney General Jeff Sessions? This is where it gets interesting. West Nova News appears to be a standard local news site, but it's not. It's a part of a massive network of websites linked to conservative businessman Brian Timpone. There are more than 1,300 sites currently in the network, including at least 28 that operate in Virginia. The sites in Virginia look identical and feature much of the same content. Most of the articles do not have a byline and are automatically generated. Timpone has a long history of leveraging low-cost automated story generation. A previous company run by Timpone, am I saying his name correctly? I don't know. Attracted national attention and outrage for faking bylines and quotes and for plagiarism. Journalatic was rebranded Locality Labs and is now part of the Metric Media Network, which operates 1,300 local news sites. Metric Media boasts that it produces over 5 million news articles a month. It's claimed to be the largest producer of local news in the United States. They're just churning out right-wing fake news. So it gives the impression that it's not fake. It's the fucked up. It is so anti-democratic, but it's just another day at the office with Republicans stacking the deck, stacking the game, rigging the game. Is there anything authentic about them? You know? You don't have to generate fake news stories if you're out there actually doing things. You see, they're not working. They're making fake news that they're working. West Nova News and other news sites in the network have little advertising and no subscription fees. The Columbia Journalism Review linked funding for sites in the network to dark money to the dark money ATM of the conservative movement and a Catholic political advocacy group that launched a $9.7 million campaign in swing states against Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden. But donations aren't the only way that Metric Media Network funds its work. And that's where Ian Pryor enters the story. The investigation last year by the New York Times found that Metric Media sites operate a pay-to-play system. In 2020, a freelance journalist was paid $22 to write an article calling out Sarah Gideon, a Democrat running for hotly contested U.S. Senate seat in Maine, calling her out as a hypocrite. After the story was published in the Maine Business Daily, which is part of the Metric Media Network, the freelancer received an email saying the client who ordered the article had requested more detail. The client was Ian Pryor, who also ordered articles promoting Senator Lindsey Graham and Senator Roy Blunt. Pryor, a longtime Republican operative, previously worked for Senate Leadership Fund, whatever. In this way, Pryor and other clients used the network to launder partisan attacks as news. Quotes from sites in the Metric Media Network can then be used in political mailers or in television ads with the authority of a neutral source. But it's all being generated from this prick billionaire right-wing fascist bastard who hates America and wants us all to die in an autocratic death camp, I guess. Well, all but him and some of the useless eaters. Well, he'll send those to the death camp, but he'll ride you till you become a useless eater. But anyway, in this way, Oh, I read this already. Pryor is not listed as the author of the story. The byline is listed as staff reports. Nor is he quoted in the article. Lansing, however, links Pryor to the article he claims started it all. The piece that Lansing references, published in September of 2020, is one of the first to claim that critical race theory is infiltrating Virginia schools. It claims that Loudoun County Public Schools has spent $422,000 in taxpayer funds training staff on critical race theory. This is false. The money was allocated to create an equity plan to provide related services to help implement that plan. The initiative was created in response to Loudoun County School that played an Underground Railroad game in which an African-American child in the class was designated as a slave for the activity. But let's not teach them anything that's going to make them feel bad. Unbelievable. This is why you have to teach this shit. I'm just absolutely stunned. For Black History Month, this Loudoun County elementary school played a runaway slave game in the gym, in a gym class. Runaway slave game? Holy shit. Wow. What is this? Neither the contract for the plan nor the plan itself mentions critical race theory. It does talk about strategies to ensure student growth and success for every child. Oh, well, that sounds like communism. This includes the recruitment and retention of a high-performing, diverse workforce. West Nova story describes this as hiring fewer white teachers. You see that? Create a problem, create dissension, create hatred. Turn people against each other. Turn working people who have darker pigment against, well, it's the lighter pigment. Turn them against each other. That's conservatism. That's why when they're writing fake news articles, because they're not out there working for their constituents or doing something to make the world a better place, they're there fucking this world up as hard as they can, until they can drain as much from it as they can, because you want to talk about a useless eater. That's them. It's yet again another psychological projection on their part. A few weeks later, in October 2020, an article written by Pryor that cited all of the same underlying documents, accompanied by even harsher political rhetoric, was published on the Federalist, a far-right website. So it's a circle jerk of misinformation. And the idiots are eating it up. According to Vice, those documents were obtained by Pryor through a Freedom of Information Act request. Pryor lives in Loudoun County. Asked by Vice to provide an example of how critical race theory is reflected in the Loudoun County instruction, Pryor said his second-grade daughter was taught about Christopher Columbus's genocidal history. Oh, that's another thing. The mad dad fighting critical race theory is actually a GOP strategist, of course. Because everything that they're outraged about is manufactured. It's faux rage. Unfortunately, corporate media doesn't report it like that, and they should. It's time to take Republicans for what they are, not for what we want them to be. Yeah, we want them to be a functioning pro-democracy party. I want a lot of things that aren't happening. Right? I want more patrons, honey. Patreon.com/Tara Devlin if you want to have a show, on a daily show at a set time. Could you imagine? Yeah, well, this reminds me of another. Wait, hold on. Oh, wait, I hear my music. Oh, it's just. Cause it's on. I hear it. Holy shit. What time is it? Alright. We're going along. Where the heck is it? Oh, yeah. It's this Fox News. I don't know if you saw this. So there was this lady on Fox News. It was right before the Virginia election. That was, unfortunately, didn't go our way. And where is this? Wait, hold on. And this Fox News, the Fox News mouthpiece said she would have to fact check whether Christopher Columbus killed anybody. Because a teacher was... I got to get the clip. I know. I'm telling you, this is the perfect time to go and become a patron. Or renew your patronage. Or, I don't know. Where is it? You don't even... I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. So you can come for the ride with me. When I'm trying to find a goddamn video. Let me see. I'll show you the entire screen. Come on. There we go. Okay. See this shit? Look at it. This is my computer when I'm doing the show. I'm like, okay, where's this article? All right, where's the video? Then I'm like, it's a lot. I'm like, okay, I can't find it. So maybe I can search for it, and I don't remember what I called it. So there's this Fox News asshole who said that the teacher on Fox News she let the truth out. She said, please, can I just say one thing? Because she's a teacher. She said critical race theory is not taught in our schools. It's not taught to children. It's a law school class, and but the truth is, we need to discuss things. For example, like the fact that Christopher Columbus killed people, and that's all she said. And the mouthpiece had to cut her off and said, well, I'm sorry, we're out of time, and I really have to fact check you on that. Whether Christopher Columbus killed somebody? Killed people. Actually, he did more than that, corporate media mouthpiece. He killed people. He systematically killed people. He systematically mutilated the indigenous population to make them afraid if they didn't find enough gold. If they unfortunately didn't find enough gold, he would cut their noses off, cut their ears off. They needed hands because they needed to grab the gold. He also gave some indigenous females as sex slaves to the crew. We know this because they, what's his name? Miguel something or other, Columbus's first mate, wrote all about it in his diary. How Columbus was so pleased with his work that he gave him a sex slave, a young girl, and he was kind of disappointed in the gift because it fought back when he tried to rape it. And, her. He thought it was an it. So he beat her mercilessly until she complied. But you would think that somebody who makes millions of dollars on a #1 news network would know that. It's so embarrassing. And they're really working hard to ensure that we don't have this conversation about race. That should tell you everything. How important it is. How much we must have this conversation and have a real one. We need to get money out of politics. We need to get conservatism out of the Democratic Party. Oh, even today, when I was watching corporate media, of course, they were talking about Joe Biden, this poll that had bad numbers for Joe Biden. What's he gonna do? And they asked the panel, because of all the polls, so many polls, up in the polls, down in the polls, and they all agreed, the corporate media mouthpieces all agreed, it's the left, the progressives. Biden, he's got to get those progressives in line. Because they're the ones standing in the way, right? They're the ones. No, honey. But the fact that the corporate media mouthpieces are saying that, it's because they don't want democracy to break out. They don't want the American people to get uppity. That's it. They'll take autocracy. You know what I mean? They just don't like it as outrageous as the asshole was making it. If it were less tweets, that's one of the things that stuck with me as far as Republicans are concerned, because they would say, "Oh, I love what Trump's doing. I just wish he would stop tweeting, because he's letting us all see what a disgusting waste of human DNA he is, an ignoramus, a moron, a disgusting ghost of the Gilded Age, a sociopath, narcissist, tax cheat, con man, draft dodger." Did I say anything that wasn't true? Just that? No. But yeah, anyway, hold on. Oh, God, help us. We have so much to talk about. But let's just kind of start wrapping it up with something that's going to make us want to puke. Did you see? Okay. Well, I mean, we could talk about Paul Gosar. I don't really want to at this point right now. He's disgusting. Let me just say that if that doesn't show you, if his behavior, I mean, he was censured, whatever, for tweeting a violent video. Republicans are fascists. They're done. Their party is dead. They're not a small d democracy party anymore. They are the domestic enemies the founders warned us about. And Paul Gosar, immediately after he was censured, he retweeted his video. So what does that tell you? Why is he allowed on Twitter still? You know what I mean? And then, of course, he compared himself to Alexander Hamilton. These people they're twisted. And so what are we going to say about it at this point? That hasn't been said. More will be revealed. Nothing's going to happen to him. The Democrats, whoopee-doopie, it doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He was censured. Democrats need to fight. But hopefully, I don't know, we can push them. Anyway, so that's whatever. We'll talk about it later. I'm sure there'll be more. Paul Gosar. His family hates him. That's the way it is. To know a Republican is to hate them. Really. So, but Republicans, they kind of suck at everything they do. They're not funny at all. No, I know. And so did you see this? Laura Ingraham, Fox News, Laura Ingraham should really leave comedy to the pros. This is from the Mary Sue, Vivian Kane. A recent episode of the Ingraham Angle on Fox News went even further off the rails when the host Laura Ingraham and contributor Richard Arroyo, there's no way I can say that word, Arroyo, appeared to attempt a comedy routine on air. In a segment dedicated to decrying woke TV, Arroyo says he recently came across a plot line about measles on the show You. You know, You, Y-O-U, on Netflix. Here.
To the politics and all those woke storylines in so many shows today. You know, I was watching an episode of You where measles came up.
Wait. When did I mention measles?
I don't know. It was on You.
Wait, what was on me? What are you talking about? Right? Is Raymond even hearing what I'm saying? I never had the measles.
Was on You.
We never did a measles and vaccine episode. Is this a joke?
I know.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It was on You. It was on You.
I've never had measles. What are you talking about? This is stupid.
It was an episode of a show, Laura.
What's it called?
You.
What is he talking about?
It's called You.
I've never done a show on measles. I just completely give up. We gotta get out.
It's a show
I give up.
called You on Netflix.
There's a show called Laura Ingraham on Netflix. What are you talking
Never mind.
about?
I'm moving on to Adele. I can't explain this to you.
What's he
The
talking
pop
about?
singer had an
Holy shit. That was... I feel bad for them. I was embarrassed watching them. You ever get that? Sometimes it's schadenfreude, but here I was just like, wow. That might have been funny. You know what I thought? They probably thought they were really funny in the room. So they do pitch meetings. So what we're going to do on the show today, they pitch what's going on. And he probably said something about You, and they said, what, You? What do you mean? And they said, well, it's a show on Netflix. And then they thought that they got a real yuck about it in the room while they were discussing the show. But it's sort of like why, so it's like in stand-up. Sometimes people will try to do stand-up, and stand-up is a thing to itself. It's a art form to itself. You could tell great stories at the backyard barbecue and have everybody on the floor laughing. It may not translate in a stand-up routine. There's a whole other thing of that. It's a whole other pacing, art, timing, you know. Anyway, they suck. They suck. They don't know their own limitations. They just think that anything they do, these idiots will gobble up, and they're probably right. This woke thing on You. So now, the other thing, the point of this clip that stuck with me as well is that now, since the COVID vaccine and trying to overcome this pandemic, to get through this pandemic as, you know, with less death, 700,000 might be enough, you think? They've suddenly become anti-vax. Now being a Republican means you're also an anti-vaxxer? Because that never seemed... I never thought... Because I always thought that the anti-vaxxers were like asshole left-wingers who are really dumb. Those are the dumb ones. That's why, obviously, Republicans can find common ground with stupidity. And they've taken this and adopted it as that's what they want to do. I would be all for it. I'm all for them exposing themselves to as many fatal diseases as possible. But they affect us, too. Normal people. Decent people. Normal society. Junior, what the hell? He's watching my hand like a hawk. My hand is not an object, kid. Oh, God. Help us. God help us. There's so many other stories. Where's the other one? Book on race. Lauren Boebert, you're a dumb waste of time. What's this one? Oh, yeah. Lauren Boebert did her part to defend Paul Gosar. Well, that's what they all did. When Nancy Pelosi called Paul Gosar to the well of the House, and all of the Republicans, like the Lauren Boebert, like Marjorie Two-Tones, QAnon, and whoever else, Matt Getz, sexual predator, they all went with him because it's a big joke. That's against the rules. I know Republicans are all about the rules. They like to quote rules at you. Are you aware of statute 195324? But, I mean, if only there was a statute for decency. And it reminded me of watching all of these freaks get together in the well of the House and be like, while Nancy Pelosi reads the censure. It just goes to show you. It reminded me of a bunch of prepubescent douchebags. Took me right back to the schoolyard, looking at a bunch of douchebags that I thought, well, they've peaked in elementary school. It's all downhill from here. But that's what it reminded me of, and that's what people want? Yeah, dumb people want that. Dumb people. Yes, they do. And here's something. We can wrap it up with this. This queen. All right? This asshole in Target. He kind of makes a name for himself going around harassing people. It used to be about masks. He didn't like the mask mandate in Arizona. Well, there is no mask mandate anymore, so he didn't know what to do with himself. Who will he be if he wasn't allowed to harass people? Why would he get out of bed in the morning if he wasn't allowed to inflict his manias on decent society? Well, he found a new target, and guess what? Oh, it's homophobia. Well, he's not targeting homophobia. He is homophobic. Well, he's gay. He's a closet case. Unfortunately, the article didn't give us his name. I wish. I was trying to find it. Like I'm trying to find the video. Where is it? I see the asshole couple that hates books. And Michael Flynn, who hates books. And another parent who hates books. Holy shit. What the fuck is wrong with me? Why can't I find it? Book burning assholes, asshole parents. You should see the way I label these. Well, that's probably why I can't find anything. Asshole parents, asshole book burners. These are what the files are called. DeJoy sucks. That's one of the files. Asshole and Target. There we go. Great.
They're gonna call the cops. Oh, I hope they do. Hey, do you guys support the satanic pride propaganda?
Yeah, both.
You support it?
Satan and pride.
You support Satan? Mm-hmm. What's God gonna think of that?
I don't believe in God.
Wow. So you think?
Did you need help with something?
You support the propaganda that's targeting the kids?
There's nothing targeting kids.
It's all over kids' TV shows. It's all over. They're targeting
kids.
Kids
choose to wear whatever they want.
Do you support the sexualization of kids through pride propaganda by corporate?
Is there something that we can help you with?
I'm just asking people questions. What about you, sir? Do you support this?
I'm not answering any questions, but if you're here to cause any disturbance in the store...
I'm just asking questions. Do you work for the Target?
Disrupting.
Do you work for
Yes,
Target?
I do, actually.
Where's your name tag?
Where's your name
I
tag?
am the undercover loss prevention.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, okay. Well, I'll allow it then. Okay. See, that's the way Republicans are. Everybody's got to stop. Right? Somebody just took a big dump in their diaper, and we all got to stop and address it. Are you for the satanic pride agenda? I love that woman. Yeah, I'm for Satan. Yeah, I'm for both, Satan and pride. Who wouldn't be? Oh, he doesn't know what to do with that.
I'm just asking questions. So do you support this satanic propaganda?
I'm not
like
answering your questions. What you need to do is you either need to leave the store.
Yeah.
God
you
will
need to
judge you
leave
guys.
Earth.
Okay.
I mean, I can't. You won't if I don't believe in it.
You
And
go,
also,
girl.
Is that our shirt?
Yeah, it is.
Are you going to purchase that shirt?
Hey, ma'am, do you support this?
What did I just say?
You support pride propaganda?
Stop.
Whoa, I'm buying this.
I need you to.
Whoa, let
you just
go,
said you're
ma'am.
not buying it.
I'm gonna buy it and burn it.
Okay, that's your choice. You can totally do that.
Well, what I said is you need to leave. You can't ask anybody any more questions. You can't disrupt
Freedom of
any more
speech. Call the
people.
police.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, call them.
Okay.
Trespass me. I don't care, dude.
No.
Clearly.
You think I care if you trespass? I've done this
If
1,000
we
times.
Never, we never said that.
You guys are satanic.
True. I
See,
love
open
her.
satanic. Satanists, guys. That's what we're gonna get up against. It's open Satanists like her.
I'm just anti anyone.
Hey, excuse me, ma'am. Do you support pride?
No, you can't disrupt any more guests. You need to leave.
Sorry, no.
Sir, do you support the satanic pride propaganda?
Sir?
It's incredible.
He doesn't.
No, he just doesn't care to talk to someone who's so hateful and judgmental. To be honest, I'm quite happy.
Hey, excuse me. Do you guys support this?
They do.
Do you guys support the propaganda?
Yep.
You do?
Yep.
So you can please
It's satanic, man.
please ignore
Do you know what the real rainbow stands for?
You can just continue.
The real
Sorry,
rainbow is
just
from
ignore
God.
him.
The real rainbow is from God.
Okay. You forgot to take your crazy meds today,
You forgot to take your crazy meds.
sir. Are you doing self-checkout? Sir? Are you doing
Hey, sir, do you support this propaganda?
Ignore him. Ignore him. Yeah.
Do you support it or no?
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Asking questions.
Are you gonna purchase that or not?
Hey, sir, do you support this propaganda?
I need you to stop.
Huh?
I need you to stop. Sir? Are you gonna purchase the shirt, your little propaganda shirt, or not?
Your little
Hey, ma'am, do you support this?
You're not gonna be.
Do you support pride?
Everybody here does. You should
incredible.
call you somewhere else.
It's absolutely incredible. This is what they do to spend their day. This is how they spend their limited lifespan. How come, I don't know. I keep hearing that it's both sides, though. Where's the other side doing this? And if left-wingers did something like this, it would be based in reality and not in somebody else's trying to. What are you trying to do? Eradicate people? Do you support satanic pride? You notice how it's all about sex with them, because they are sick. They're sick. They're repressed. They're not mature. They never developed correctly, and they're inflicting their manias on Earth. And so he's like, do you support this satanic pride? It's because he hates himself. That's the telltale sign. He hates himself because he's gay, and he lives in a world of cowardice, of fear, of repressed assholes who will turn their back on him. Because I guess Jesus told them to. And he doesn't have the courage to be himself. So he goes out, he sees a pride shirt, and he says, oh my God, there are people who aren't repressed like me. Oh, well, it's too much temptation out there. And that's really what it's about. They're limiting the temptation for themselves. See, if he sees people living their authentic lives, it only exacerbates the fact that he is not living an authentic life. There is no doubt in my mind that if every gay person turned purple, he would look like a Teletubby. There is no fucking doubt. Excuse my language. There's no doubt. Because nobody cares that much unless they are suffering somehow. What do you care? What do you care? Somebody has pride. They have pride. You know why we say pride? Because we're counteracting the lifetime of shame that people like him inflicted on us. That's why. So we're counteracting it. No, just like we took the word queer, we are reclaiming pride. And why we're reclaiming patriotism. It's the truth. That's what we're doing. Oh, boy. But this little episode in Target, it feels like everything that's going on. Everything. Everybody has to stop and address the fascists, the babies who poop their diapers and can't function in a diverse country. They need a country that has one religion, one autocrat at the top, one god that has a penis, of course. They got a really sick, twisted version of, hey, not nice. He just bit my hand. You know what it is? He wants me to pet him. It's like, I can relate. He wants me to pet him. And then when I stop petting him, he grabs my hand and tries to drag it back. Back to his back. I can't just sit here all day and go like this. I need to get... Do they have a mechanical hand? It goes like this, maybe? I saw that on a cartoon once. All right. My guys, listen up, man. What are we gonna do? I gotta go. I'm going to get unconscious. And thank you, Robin M., for your super chat. I hope everybody's doing good. Sorry I didn't see you in the chat room that much tonight. Let's see. I want to say thank you, Terry. Thank you, Elise. And JL's J. Very nice to see you. Nice to see you, Jabba Monkey. Nice to see you, Errol. And nice to see you, Elise. And Winston Smith and Haiku. And Terry Taylor. Thank you so much. Thank you, Richard W. Thank you, Jim. Of course, yes. Listen to him. Will you relax? Oh my God. Who else is in the chat that I missed? Robin, nice to see you. Elise. And Andrea, nice to see you there. Thanks for hanging out. Who else did I miss? Kamala? All right, Jabba Monkey. Oh, Maki, excuse me, Jabba Monkey. All right, my friends, we will be back. And Thomas, nice to see you, Thomas. All right, kid, calm down. Terry. All right, my friends. I'm very sorry to Jabbermaki. Jabbermaki writes, the great love of my life. I miss him every day. He's been gone 3 years now. Not making men like Harold anymore. That's for sure. I'm sorry, Jabber. And I'm sure Harold is cheering us on. Thank you for sharing. Hugs to you and everyone else. Listen up, guys. We'll be back on Saturday. How's that sound? Good? Good idea? Saturday around what time did we do? 7:30. What do you think? All right, listen up. Thanks so much for hanging out. You're the best. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your support and everything else. And like I said, we will win. We're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. Thanks for hanging out, guys. My name is Tara Devlin. We stick together. We win. I'll see you soon. You're doing silly.